Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne production. Now available on Apple Podcasts, PodcastOne, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I'm coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada today, down here at the SHOT Show. Some of you are wondering, what is the SHOT Show? The SHOT Show is a trade convention that happens yearly, annually, once a year. That basically is a little bit redundant there. I'm sitting there looking at my buddy Ted Fowler. He can't speak worth a shit today because he's got a cold. Teddy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We done had a workout, had some coffee, and you sounded pretty good yesterday. You started catching a bug down in Rockport a couple of days ago. I thought you was going to miss the event, so you sound like shit. How you feeling?
I feel good. I just, no karaoke.
No karaoke tonight. That motherfucker couldn't sing to begin with. He damn sure can't sing now. Anyway, we're down here walking around. The SHOT Show is a convention where, basically it's all of the latest, greatest hunting, tactical type things in the world of guns, ammunition, camo, outdoor type stuff. And, man, I've been coming to this thing every single year for about the past 8 years. Got a lot of friends out here making rounds and shaking hands and just kind of it's kind of like a pilgrimage that I make. And I drive out here every year, and I used to come out here in my pickup truck, and the guys always stay over here at the Venetian, and the guys always used to be pulling up in my damn silver Chevy truck. And last year they saw me show up in my wife's BMW X5 because my pickup truck was in Texas, and Kristen wouldn't let me drive. My wife would not let me drive my 95 Ford Bronco from Los Angeles to Las Vegas because it's got that short wheelbase. And it's my baby. I drive it so much every single day, but she didn't want me to take a 4-hour drive in my Ford Bronco. It only got 40,000 miles on it. It's in cherry condition, but she just didn't want me on the highway in old technology. So I showed up. It was 2 years ago. I showed up in the BMW X5 that we leased for my wife, and all the guys at the valet gimmick, they're like, "Hey man, what happened to the truck?" And I had my camouflage jacket on. I said, "Man, this BMW, this isn't you." And so I had to tell the guys why I was driving a fucking BMW X5. Anyway, so here we are, and this year I was going to drive my '96 Suburban. I just got it out of the shop, purring like a kitten. I was going to drive that motherfucker down here. And sure enough, getting ready to pack up, she goes, "You know you're taking a BMW, right?"
Lordy.
This is my wife laying it down to me what vehicle I'm going to drive to Las Vegas. So I'm like, yeah, well, I was planning on taking a '96 Suburban. No, you're going to take the BMW X5. There's a time in a relationship where sometimes, it is what it is. You got to lay down, hey, no, it's going to be like this. When Kristen had that tone in her voice, I knew on both occasions I would be driving a BMW X5 to Las Vegas. I was going to do the guy thing, Fowler, roll up in a Ford Bronco, because I've been rolling up my truck, roll up in a '96 Suburban. But no, to its credit, our BMW X5, which is the lease is up on this month, you get that sumbitch on the highway, and it is world class. So I enjoyed the drive. I came out here yesterday. It's about a 4-hour drive. And about 200 miles out, man, I blinked my eyes, and all of a sudden I was there. So my trip was easy. You, on the other hand, came out on what? You fly Southwest?
Southwest, yes.
And you was B-49 on the boarding, right?
Yes, sir.
So how'd that work? Cattle car. I mean, you might as well grease up with some KY jelly, grab a crowbar and a shoehorn, and start boarding that sumbitch. How was it?
No, it was packed. They were trying to sell the seats because they'd oversold the flight, telling people, if you take the next one, we'll give you $300 and, monopoly money or whatever they pay you in. Yeah, and of course, typically, I'm 6'5", 248 now. Thanks.
Right.
They put me between a couple of pretty good-sized boys anyway, and I'm sitting right in the middle seat. Yeah, it's real comfortable.
You're kind of a germ fanatic, Fowler. So are you just trying to – I know it's probably getting under your skin when these cats are rubbing on your elbows and shit.
No, man, I can't stand to have people touching me, bumping against me. Yeah, I mean, I'm curled up in that seat like a little burrito trying to, stay.
A 6'5" burrito crammed in the middle seat of Southwest. Did you pop open that bag of pretzels they give you and say, hey, you guys want one?
Now, did they give you a little cereal bar, like a little granola bar?
How'd that go
and
down?
It's about the size of a postage stamp.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, really, what am I supposed to do with this?
Well, you get that scratchy throat. That's probably
Yeah,
going to
boy,
irritate, exacerbate. How about that? Exacerbate the situation. Exacerbate. 4-syllable words. I didn't say masturbate. Found up there jacking off in the Southwest Airlines. So
holding my cereal bar.
Yeah, we've already hit this thing right in the gutter when him at the 5-minute mark. So, and give you a little bit of beverage to wash that granola board down.
Yeah, about 15 minutes after they give you that granola bar. So you're sitting there with a mouthful of, dust.
Mouthful of sand and dust.
Like, dude, really? Yeah.
It was back in the day, man, when they used to hand out some stuff on airlines. It was good shit.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
These days, these motherfuckers are so tight trying to make a damn dollar. And, I can't blame them. The economy's a drizzling shits. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But the airline food these days, it ain't worth a flying shit. We got on a airplane. I got on an airplane the other day. Last week, WWE announced the WWE Network, and Vince wanted me up there for that. So, man, I'm doing my thing. I'm riding up there in first class. I'm sitting down. I'm just kind of minding my own business, and there's always this guy. The guy that's got to have that overhead bin carry-on luggage that's just a cunt hair too big to actually fit in that fucking hole. And this guy's pushing this thing, and he's jimmying it around, and he's pushing it, and he's repositioning it, and it's like, dude, just you've probably done this. I mean, he ended up getting it up there, but it was a pain in the ass. And, of course, the line's backed up all the way out the goddamn jetway. Just buy you a little smaller suitcase for that motherfucker, because he was the guy that needed a crowbar, a shoehorn, and some KY jelly to get his shit up in there. And then you're sitting there, and these people walking past you, they knock the shit out of you with their shoulder, their bags, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. So I don't understand what some people are thinking when they get on an airplane. And then one cat was riding up there in first class, had his sandals on. One of my pet peeves, fella.
Yeah, I know it.
I can't stand to see a guy in sandals on an airplane. It just rubs me the wrong way. If it's a chick, women, they wear sandals. That's okay. I wear flip-flops all day long, every single day. I got a pair of flip-flops laying right there in my house shoes here in the hotel room. But when I go out in public, if you're going to get on an airplane, flip-flops are a no-no for guys. At least that's the way I feel about it.
Well, their toenails usually look like corn chips anyway. I mean, girls at least take care of their feet.
Even if a guy is going and getting a mani-pedi, I don't want to see his fucking toes. I think it's one of my phobias. A toephobia. Hey, speaking of phobias, I had so many people send in some questions or suggestions or demands for me to bring the word of the day back. The word of the day is back. And it was sent in to the Steve Austin Show. If you guys got a word of the day and I use it, I'll mention, see if I can get some free T-shirts out of this deal. I got to talk to my people over at PodcastOne.com. But a guy named Chris Lemoy from North Providence, Rhode Island, sent in the word of the day. So before we go any further, let's talk about the word of the day. Hey, Steve, what's up? My name is Chris Lemoy from North Providence, Rhode Island. I got a suggestion for word of the day. Tell you the word of the day is sinosilicophobia. Sinosilicophobia is the word of the day. Teddy, you know what that means?
Not a clue.
Sinosilicophobia means the fear of having an empty beer glass. If you think that should be incorporated into your podcast, give me a hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. God dang, Teddy, I was tossing and turning and fumbling around here last night. I guess I had sinosilicophobia because I thought my beer was going to run out. I didn't sleep worth a shit last night. I get in my room. We all went out to dinner, had a pretty good steak. Now, you know what? My steak sucked ass. I ain't going to lie about it. It was too damn dry. How was yours?
A little too much fat and not much flavor on it.
Too much fat, no flavor. And so anyway, came back in. I was going to get my hotel room here at the Venetian. Got a good hookup over here. And tried to turn my air conditioner on. The goddamn air conditioner didn't work. So I'm fiddling around with that damn switch and nothing. So I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. I'm trying to get some Q&As for the show here today. And here comes the technician. Real cool guy. We start telling wrestling stories. He knows who I am. And he works on my air conditioning unit for damn near an hour. And I'm trying to get it early night
Right.
because we was going to get up this morning and go bust out a workout, which we did. So he starts telling a wrestling story, and he grew up in Detroit. And he says, I was at a grocery store. No, he's at a drugstore. He says, I was at a drugstore about 40 years ago, and I'm a pretty big guy. And he goes, this guy that was a little bit bigger than me comes up to me and goes, you want to arm wrestle? So they arm wrestled, and the guy beat him. He says, do you want to get into wrestling? And the guy that was here working on my air conditioning said no, and he's a engineer and he works on things now. But the guy that asked him to arm wrestle was none other than Killer Kowalski. Killer Kowalski, a very famous old generation wrestler. You're probably not into the historics of the wrestling business as I am, but to bring it up to so it makes sense to you, Teddy, Killer Kowalski is the guy that trained Triple H, among many other people, to be in the business of professional wrestling. So that was my feel-good wrestling story of the day. I talked to you the other day about the WWE Network.
Yeah.
With the $9.99 a month, 100,000 hours of original content, all the reality stuff they're gonna do. All the pay-per-views, all that bullshit, are you can access through WWE Network online. What were your things? What were your thoughts on that, Teddy?
Oh, I'm all for it. I mean, I watch all that stuff anyway through the Netflix. Watch all of the old they are the old WWE, documentaries and the old matches and the best rivalries. So yeah, I'll definitely sign up for it because I like watching that stuff. It's better than the garbage that's on TV nowadays.
Well, yeah. Because ain't no programming on TV. All the pay-per-views are on there. You haven't got a pay-per-view in a long time. I mean, if we're down at the ranch, we get Wrestlemania, or if most of the time I'm in L.A. But I always watch Wrestlemania. But the other ones, I can't really.
No, I don't.
I ain't got time to do all that. Yeah. But if they're going to include it on the $9.99 gimmick, well, then I'll jump all over that like a duck on a June bug. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. I think it'll be a massive success. I mean, it's just so much bang for the buck. And the way so many people are watching shows on their iPhones or their tablets and all that other stuff, I would have never figured that technology would take us where we're at today. Of course, I'm a guy that would travel around the world and get hit in the head with a steel chair, wrestling in 20x20. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But it's very interesting to me to see how the business has shifted over into this direction that it's gone. And in 2 years from now, it's going to be even more so. So I think their timing was perfect. I actually heard that the UFC had done this about a week or two before WWE, but I was down at the ranch with you. Right. I was kind of oblivious. We were hunting and drinking so much, I didn't have time to hear about the UFC announcement, but I think that's great for them too. But when you look at the different libraries, if you compared the two libraries, it's not even a comparison. The WWE has so much more of a library with that much content, and from all the different federations. I think it's going to be a massive success. And my little chump cheap ass is actually going to sign up for it as well. And it helps me. It would help me with my research. You type in a match there on the screen, and all of a sudden you've got that match. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it and doing all that stuff. I mentioned that I was here for that convention.
Right.
And I was trying to stay away from all the casinos and the hullabaloo and horse shit. So I tried to stay at a very small hotel. It was all booked up. So they ended up putting me over at the Trump Tower. I ain't never stayed at Trump Tower before. And I walked in because I wanted something simple. I'd just go to my room. And that's what the Trump Tower offered. I didn't see the casino or wherever it was. And I get up to my room, and it's a badass room. I got a big-ass Viking refrigerator. I got a full range, oven, burners, microwave. It's a badass room.
Air conditioning?
Air conditioning works. Donald Trump, the air conditioning worked in that goddamn room. But I couldn't get online. I couldn't get my Wi-Fi to work. And Vince is trying to call me to give me some messages for a little bit of a heads up about what we were going to do down there. And so I called the guy on the phone, real nice guy. And after about 20 minutes of talking on the phone, he finally got my Wi-Fi to work. He circumvented and went back behind and did a bunch of bullshit. So swig of beer for the guy who got me online at Trump Tower, because I was going to be madder than a hornet if I had to give a disparaging report on my experience at the Trump Tower. but it turned out to be a great stay, and I'll be staying at the Trump Tower in the future due to my experience and how much I like the rooms and their setup. And it started taking me back to thinking about what a cool guy Donald Trump was. It was a couple of years ago. I'll share this story with you guys, and then we're going to take care of some business, and I'm going to jump into some Q&As. You guys have been sending me a lot of badass questions here, and I read them all. I can't cover them all, but I read them all, and I'm going to answer some questions while I'm here in Las Vegas. And then, of course, coming up next Tuesday, the part 2 of the Roddy Piper podcast will come back on, and what a blast it was talking to Roddy Piper, and a guy who paid so many heavy dues coming up in the ranks, not just in the business, jumping into business at 14 years of age, but his life as a kid was extremely hard. And I was sitting there just as far as I was from you, Teddy, right now, and you could just read the pain on his face, and you could feel the pain talking to him. It was an incredible one-on-one conversation, and I got to thank Roddy for sharing so much information with me. And that's why I always like to talk to people in person when I talk to them, and you never know what they're going to share with you, but the communication is so much easier. And man, what a compelling story. But more of that. But let me get back to this Donald Trump story, and it tell you how cool I think Donald Trump is. We were there in Detroit at Ford Field. It was Wrestlemania, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, whenever it was, when they gathered up the two teams, and Vince had a team and Donald Trump had a team. And those two teams are going to wrestle each other. I was a special referee. And whoever's team lost was going to get his head shaved. Okay, well, you know the gig here.
Yeah.
Donald Trump ain't getting his hair shaved. He's got that comb-over thing, and it's going to be a long time. If he gets that shit shaved off, it's going to be a long time before it grows back.
Right.
And so you know Vince is on the hook. So anyway, we do the deal. And the thing about the match was, Teddy, we're at Ford Field, and that Ford Field seats about 90,000 people. It's gigantic. It's a huge indoor stadium. But what happens when you're in a 20-by-20 ring there and the crowd's a little far back, the sound doesn't really travel to the ring. It just kind of escapes up into no man's land, and you can't hear it. So we were out there working, and I was calling the match, but I'm listening to the crowd because I know if we need to shift gears, we need to do something else. But the bottom dropped out of that because we couldn't hear shit. And we're all in there, and I'm kind of giving Vince a gimmick look, and he's looking at me. We thought we lost the people. Well, when you watch it back on pay-per-view, I mean, the people were with everything that was going on. We just couldn't hear it.
Right.
So now what they do when they're working in a big arena like that is they'll put some monitor speakers and point those back towards the ring, like a rock and roll band does, so you can hear the feedback or hear yourself, hear what's going on. And if you hear that crowd, it helps you make your decisions.
Right.
So anyway, there we were in the middle of a 8-man clusterfuck. And Vince's team lost the gig, counted 3, and it was time to shave his head. And so we did that, and we were just kind of going over, the brass tacks of the business, and then we're going to go back and, have the event. And before we left, Vince says to Donald Trump, "Hey, Donald, one more thing." And I didn't even know about this, but I was watching it unfold. How you feel about taking a Stone Cold Stunner? And Donald kind of hesitates. The boy's handler's right there. And, Donald's worth, I don't know, $1, $2, whatever it is. Yeah. And he's a straight-up business guy. And if he has any athletic skill, I know not of it. And his guys tell him, no, there's no reason you need to get any kind of physicality with this stuff. You have nothing to gain, blah, 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 blah. And he looks at Vince. He goes, "Sure, I'll take it." And I'll be damned. I sat there and I talked with Donald for about 2 minutes, just kind of give him the basic, here's how it goes. I think I might have demonstrated on somebody, not Donald. And the match happened. Comes time for the stunner. Bing, bang, boom. Ring up Donald Trump with the stunner. And it looked like shit. And he took it like shit. But I am a fan of Donald Trump because he didn't have to put himself in harm's way. Yeah. He did it for the show. He did it for me, and he did it for the wrestling fans that were there, 90,000, and I don't know, maybe 1 million or 2 watching. So I always give props to Donald Trump for doing business the way he did at WrestleMania. It was a stand-up thing to do. Donald, I know you don't listen to this crazy-ass show, but I got a lot of respect for you. I'll be back at the Trump Tower because I had a damn good time staying at your damn hotel over there. Teddy, let's shift gears. Let's take care of a little business, and then let's jump into some Q&A that some people sent in to the Steve Austin Show. Questions, SteveAustinShow.com. You guys been sending some good questions. I want to answer some of these. Stay in touch. And don't forget, man, if you got any kind of ideas how to make this show better than it is, send your ideas in. I read every single email that comes in. I do not have a chance to respond to all of them, but I read all of them. But before I jump into IncomeRevolution.com, Teddy, I forgot to ask you. Right now, we in Las Vegas, the home of a bunch of hookers. I didn't hear no activity coming from your room last night. You're about 5, 6, 7 rooms down, but I didn't hear a bunch of hollering, hooping, and bullshit. So what happened?
No, I'm pacing myself.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like I told you, I didn't know those people were at the Hard Rock this weekend. Yeah, I might have to.
Oh, Teddy was telling me. He came in this morning. We went down. We was going to go eat breakfast before we did this show, and the breakfast line's a mile long. So we said, fuck that. We'll go get a coffee. And then the coffee line was a mile long. So we said, fuck that. We'll just go get our workout in. So we got our workout in, and I tell you what, the workout was a piece of shit. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
But without any coffee, and I took a Alpha Brain and a Shroom Tech before I went down there, but I need a little bit of coffee to kick those things in. So I was glad we had our workout. We'll have another workout again tomorrow. But the weights felt heavy this morning.
No, I know it. But see, I didn't bring any Alpha Brain or Shroom Tech because I didn't want to fly with it. I didn't know.
Well, that's straight up legal.
Yeah. Dude, I don't fly much.
Well,
I don't get out of the house much.
Hey, I've been taking my Alpha Brain the other day, and I lose everything. And I lost my hat.
No, I know.
Last night I was late for dinner almost because I couldn't find my fucking hat. And so I left it at one of the displays or something like that. But I'll be looking for something at the house, and that's Kristen's go-to line. God damn, that fucking Alpha Brain's working, ain't it? She says it a little bit more feminine than I do, but that's kind of the bottom line of how she says it. And I'm like, no, man, this stuff really, really works. And she just, she rubs her eyebrow and she shakes her head because she's like, really? You're lying. Really?
Think how dumb you'd be if you didn't take it.
Yeah. If you guys think I'm stupid now, you ought to see me when I ain't taking my Alpha Brain. So I'll drop an Alpha Brain and a Shroom Tech on you before we head out to the SHOT Show. We got to get down and mill around and walk around. So no hookers for you. Hookers in the plan for tonight?
No, I didn't say. Don't say no hookers. I mean, hell, I'm already sick. What's the worst that can happen?
Jesus Christ.
To go down there.
Did you come prepared? Did you bring some KY jellies, some condoms, anything? Shoehorn?
Got it all. Got it all.
Oh, so you won't bring a fucking bottle of over-the-counter Alpha Brain or Shroom Tech, but you got dildos, butt plugs, and KY jelly.
Yeah, 48 condoms. How long you going? Just 3 days. I'm optimistic.
Teddy's got a pocket full of money. So the AVN show, you going to cruise by that? I see, because I didn't know if you was bored or not walking around seeing all this shit. I figured now that you told me the AVN's in town, the adult video, what is it called?
Yeah, the AVN, the adult video.
Well, however you make adult video awards, it should be AVW. Anyway, what the fuck do I know what I'm talking about? So you're going to go over and check out all the guys and gals.
God damn, I'd like to bring one back with me and walk through the SHOT Show. Honey, let's try out this pop-up blind.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Hey, man, do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. All right, let's go to a Q&A here, Teddy, and see what we got. Let's see how many of these questions you can help me answer here. Hey, Steve, wow, what an honor to have the opportunity to write you this email. My name is Captain Jose. I won't put his last name because he's deployed in Afghanistan with the U.S. Army. I download your podcast every single week and really enjoy your interviews with all the wrestlers. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and it's incredible and takes me back to when I was little, when you ask questions to old-school wrestlers like Ric Flair, Jim Cornette, Dusty Rhodes, Jim Ross, and you're funny as hell. Nothing but my respects to you, sir. This is some kind of medicine that helps me out through the day in this frickin' crazy place away from my family. Once again, what an honor, and thank you for taking your valuable time and giving back to your fans. God bless you and your family. Hey, Captain Jose, I appreciate the damn email. He's over there in Kabul, Afghanistan. I appreciate everything that you guys and gals are doing over there. I hope that you're all safe, and I hope that you get your ass back here to the United States soil ASAP and swig a beer for the fighting man and the fighting woman over in Afghanistan representing the U.S. of A. Appreciate everything you do. Teddy, dig this. Steve, Happy New Year to you, Kristen, and the dogs. Here's a fun question. Who's the harder boss to keep happy, Vince McMahon or the Steve Austin Show fans? Which one and why? Welcome back to the grind of being in L.A. Stay well, Adam. Adam, what in the fuck's going on, mister? Vince McMahon or the Steve Austin Show fans? It's a pretty tough question. Vince is, he's a little bit of a perfectionist, and when I was in that line of work, somewhat I was too, and needed to find the best solution to go about coming up with an angle to make money. And so Vince was always so great at looking at the big picture and looking down the road, back when they used to try to book almost 2 years out, and making sometimes, when injuries happened, chicken salad out of chicken shit. So Vince is an extremely tough guy to work for, or work with, rather. But it was a very fun challenge to try to do as good as we could every single Monday night, or in the house shows, whatever you're booked with. But as far as the Steve Austin Show fans go, man, I want to try to get you guys to keep listening to the show and get you to tell 2 friends and tell 2 friends and tell 2 other friends, so I can keep spreading the word and growing this thing out. So sometimes when you do one of these shows like today, hey, we might hit a double or a triple, Teddy. You got the dang hoarse voice over there, and sometimes technology issues creep up on me. Sometimes you'll hit a grand slam, sometimes you'll hit a home run, sometimes you'll hit a single or double. You just always strive. I think it's like, I treat this show just kind of like anything in life. You do your best you can. Sometimes your best ain't going to be as good as it was at other times. Right. So you're going to have your high spots and your low spots. Somehow you just kind of got to ride it out and make it all blend together into one. And sometimes I used to stress so bad over it. I was like, man, why am I doing this podcast? Well, I'm doing it to, for something to do as a creative outlet, and because I enjoy it. But when you're doing it, you got to put your name on it and put your stamp on it. You want it to be as good as it can be. And sometimes it seems like the best ain't good enough. But it is what it is. Good question, Adam. I appreciate you sending that sumbitch in. Here's an interesting question, Teddy. You've been watching the business for a long time. I've been a pro wrestling fan for 20-plus years, but I never knew why wrestlers wear wrist tape. Thanks, from John S. Hey, John S., I appreciate you listening to the show. Teddy, why do you think guys wear wrist tape?
And I don't know if it would be to give the other guy something to grip onto, for the throws. But, when you're benching, the guys wear the wrist wraps. I think that's. You
hit it right on the head there, Teddy. Basically, it's just for traction. You get a lot of sweat going on in there. A lot of guys wear some baby oil to look shiny, look good for the cameras and for the audience. I was more just a water guy. Didn't really like the baby oil too much. I remember one time I was wrestling Ahmed Johnson over in Germany, and god dang, Ahmed used to put the damn baby oil on like a motherfucker. It's like wrestling a gigantic tanker truck who was slippery in hell. And as all due respect to Ahmed Johnson, a lot of the boys did it back then. Back before then, when I was in Atlanta, I'm not familiar. I don't know if you're familiar, Teddy. Some of my listeners are. That stuff, it's like they would spray it on their skin. It's like a vasodilator. It was like wrestling someone who had icy hot all over them and kind of make their skin red and their veins pump out. But if you got that shit in your eyes, it hurt like a motherfucker. I can't remember the name of it. Back in the day, guys used to use that. But to go back to answer your question there, John, some guys use it a little bit for support. It does offer that depending on how tight you tape your wrist. But long story short, for me, my perspective was just purely for traction. When you're wet in there and slippery, just basically even due to sweat, you need something to grab a hold of and not to slip off, because there ain't nothing that looks worse than sending a guy into the ropes and you disconnect, and then you got to re-grab, because, theoretically you shouldn't be able to re-grab, because that guy didn't want to get sent into the ropes to begin with, right?
Yeah. Here's my arm, do that again.
And that was always another thing that always got me, because a guy might know the spot that was coming up, and if the guy's pounding on him in the corner, and then all of a sudden he just hands the guy his arm, a little bit of, up is okay, but you just don't want to look like you're shaking the guy's hand. So basically, to answer your question, it's for traction. When you look at what Triple H was doing with tape back in the day, he taped up that right hand very heavily, and he would use that as part of his gimmick as far as his look goes, because he was using that right hand as a sledgehammer. And I always thought it looked really cool. It was a good idea. Sometimes I wish I would have thought of it before he did, and certainly guys have been doing this for a long time. But the downside of that is that was part of his gig. He taped up that right hand every single night. So a lot of work, a lot of tape, a lot of bullshit, but that's the answer to your question. Moving on down the road here. That's a long-winded question. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Steve, I was reading the history of the WWF article on their website, and they brought up the night where The Undertaker crucified you on his symbol. The little blurb about it said there were so many complaint calls that the WWF phone systems crashed. I watched that episode live and thought it was just great TV. It was over the top, but that was at the time. What were your thoughts of it? I know Vince Russo was running creative back in, and he did a lot of over-the-top things. Owen hadn't had his accident yet, so there weren't many restrictions in that area, I don't believe. Also, I know a lot of people didn't like Russo. Could you give a little background from your perspective about him and how things were while he was working with you? Oh, Jason. Well, good question, Jason. Teddy, you remember the night when the ministry hood hung me up by that metal cross?
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, man, they first showed me that big-ass metal cross, and they hooked the cables to it and pulled it up there to the ceiling, or as high as they did anyway, off that metal grill stage. And I looked at that damn contraption, and I'm like, hey, man, I said, this motherfucker ain't going to fall, right?
Right.
Because I'm standing on a platform on that crucifix, and my arm's out here to the side, and they're strapped down. So if that thing falls, I can't, first of all, the thing weighs several hundred pounds.
Yeah.
It's a big-ass piece of metal. And so if one of those cables snapped, it's not like I can, just jerk one of my arms free and stop myself. Plus, the crucifix weighed several hundred pounds. It doesn't matter if I got them free. Anyway, I was going to get crushed because I could not stop that weight. So I asked several questions about, the safety of it. Would it fall? Blah, 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 blah. No, we're good. So anyway, we go out and do the gig that night. Undertaker gets me there. He ties me down. I'm standing on the little platform that I have to stand on. And all of a sudden, man, I think the lights went down and they started pulling that cross up. And Undertaker kind of went into his routine. I guess he was down there posing the Undertaker thing. And if I'm not mistaken, Paul Bearer was there. All I remember, Teddy, is being up about, I don't know how high they took that cross at that time, 30 feet, whatever it was, 10 feet maybe. But it was up in the air. I was suspended. And obviously, I was just like it. I was just standing there with my arms out in a pair of trunks. And it was weird. It was real weird. I think they might have had the purple lights going about that time. And I just I hate when people use the word, it was so surreal, because it's a cliche.
Right.
But surreal would have to be the word that I might use there. And I just kind of zoned out. I kind of try to put myself like what was really going on maybe back then when they did that many, many years ago. And so I was just up there just kind of zoning out, tripping, and just kind of and that's when you're in a moment like that, Teddy, what are you going to do? Because you can get up there and you're going to act like you don't like it. And you're trying to pull your arms and flail around. That would be a stupid sell.
Yeah.
That's not going to translate. So the thing was, I was there. There's no getting out of it until someone got me out of it.
Yeah.
So I just went up there, stood on that platform, and kind of went into a trance almost. And it was a very weird, spooky feeling, and the crowd was tripping. And then finally, I don't even remember, when they let the thing down and they unstrapped me off of it. But anyway, it was a real weird experience to I guess, sum it all up. And as far as Vince Russo goes, he was running some creative back end. He did a lot of over-the-top things. And I always thought that Vince Russo, as long as you had a rev limiter on him, he was very, very good. I enjoyed working with Vince. He came up with a lot of great ideas. If you didn't have any restrictions on him, then he would go totally overboard and fuck a lot of shit up. But he was certainly a guy that I looked forward to working to. He was a guy that I certainly looked forward to working with every single Monday. And he was very enthusiastic and did have a lot of great ideas. There's some shitty ones too, as we all do. But I would say most of my experience with Vince Russo was very positive. I think I've seen over the internet many times that he might have tried to take a little too much credit for some of the stuff that Stone Cold Steve Austin did, and wanted to say that he was entirely successful for that, that he was entirely responsible for that success, but that would not be the case. Did I enjoy working with Vince? Absolutely. Have you ordered your Steve Austin Audio Whoop-Ass T-shirts yet? They're available right now at PodcastOne.com. Just click on the store link. It's a perfect way to ring in a new year. And check this out. It's a black T-shirt, so it's a good color for everyone. And if you spill food on it, no one can see it. So get your shirt right now at PodcastOne.com. Just click on the store link. Eddie, let's jump into some Q&A that some people sent in to the Steve Austin Show. QuestionSteveAustinShow.com. Good day from down under. I've been watching since Wrestlemania 1. One thing I don't think I've seen is a wrestler sneeze in the ring, let alone cough. Closest I've seen is when Rock was cutting a promo on Mick Foley, but he only seemed to lose his voice. So can you give me any explanation why wrestlers don't sneeze in the ring? Next time I go in the ring, I'm going to take some sneezing powder or some black pepper and blow it in someone's face so they start sneezing. I'm sure I've seen a guy sneeze in the ring. I can't recall where it was or whatever, but to your point, as far as just watching a match, I can't remember anybody ever sneezing in a ring. Can you?
No, I can't remember either.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like I think your body sometimes knows that you can't sneeze, so it does not. Now, with that being said, there's been plenty of guys cough because sometimes you'll get up north when it's cold and the building will be real cold and you're breathing in that cold air, so you'll see guys cough on the apron after they tag out. Plenty of guys coughing, hacking shit up, spitting loogies on the ground. Guys fart like a pack mule in the damn ring. Guys, I shit my pants in the ring, but we're just talking about sneezing and stuff like that. Fart, bad gas. Chris Adams was notorious back in the day when I used to wrestle him all the time in Dallas, Texas. God damn, Chris could fuck up a ring. You talk about some smelly-ass farts. A guy who was so instrumental in my career. But that's a good question. I don't know why. I appreciate you sending that all the way in from Australia, Brett. Here's one. Hey, Steve, I got a question for you. Michelle, my girlfriend, is a huge fan of your work inside the squared circle and keeps asking me if you will be down in New Orleans during the WrestleMania week. It's our first WrestleMania we're going to, and we hope to see you during that time. Thanks for answering this question. Stay classy and keep doing what you do. You telling me to stay classy? Hey, Nick, I appreciate it. I hope you and Michelle have a damn good time down at WrestleMania 30. Go down to the Acme Oyster House, get you a dozen oysters and a Bloody Mary. That's one of my go-to spots when I'm down in New Orleans. And don't forget to check out some crawfish etouffee and some seafood gumbo. I would actually like to go down there because I could actually conduct face-to-face interviews with a lot of the talent, some of the current people that I'd like to talk to. I know it's a big weekend for them, but also there's so many legends that they bring in for the Hall of Fame. it would be a good place to facilitate some of that business. With that being said, in any formal capacity as far as appearances, I've not committed to anything of that nature yet.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Hey, man, do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Here's one, Teddy, from Muskegon, Michigan. You ever know anybody from Muskegon, Michigan?
No, can't say I do.
Well, you do now. This is old Andrew. He said, hey, Steve, I'm a big fan of your work in the ring and even more of a fan of the podcast. I was very excited to hear my favorite wrestler, Kevin Steen, on a few weeks ago. Anyway, I'm in the need of a little motivation. You see, I'm 25 years old and have never really left my home state of Michigan. In March, I'm going to get on a boat and work my ass off for 7 months straight to make a bit of money and then move to California to begin my dream of becoming involved in the world of pro wrestling. Any travel advice or good places to go see after I get off this boat? Thanks for taking the time to read this. Well, goddamn, Andrew, you little mealy-mouthed son of a bitch. If you're going to get on a boat and work your ass off for 7 months straight to get a little bit of money and then move to California, the last thing you need to do is go sightseeing when you get off the fucking boat. I'm taking the time to read this. I guess I'll have to take the time to straighten your little ass out. Who's going to train you once you get to California? Where are you going to stay once you get to California? How much money can you save up by working 7 months on a damn boat? There ain't no place over there in Michigan to teach your ass how to wrestle. Have you thought about this process? Have you made a game plan? You can't just work for 7 months, haul your ass out to California and say, here I am. Teddy. Okay, we gotta have a place to stay.
Yeah.
We gotta have a budget.
Yeah.
You gotta know where your meals are coming from, who you gonna train with, how much that training's gonna cost. Hey, Andrew, I wish y'all luck in the world, but you gotta have a little wake up call here, a little come to Jesus meeting. You're gonna fly off the handle and leave out of Muskegon, Michigan, into California and be stranded. There could be some people down there in Michigan that can teach you how to work. California's not the holy grail as far as pro wrestling goes. Good independent scene down there going with PWG and all those guys that do that. But hopefully you got a better game plan going than this. And don't worry about the good places to go see. You need to make sure you have an itinerary which has a place for you to learn how to work, a place for you to sleep, a place for you to eat and do all that stuff. You can go sightsee once you get into business and make a little dough, which is going to be a little bit. So get your ducks in a row, make your plans a little bit better, and you're 25 years old. You didn't tell me if you had a college education or not. Think about Plan B. Plan B is going to be very important in case Plan A, your dream of being a pro wrestler, don't work. Hey, I'm not telling you you can't do it. I'm just telling you be ready for a reality check and a wake-up call. It's a tough world out there. I wish you all the best. I appreciate you listening to the show, and I'm kind of ribbing you on the square here. I'm giving you a little bit of motivation, but I also want to give you a little bit of heads up as far as the realities of getting your ass out there in L.A. or California, where the fuck you're going, and being able to support yourself. You dig it? All right. Appreciate the question. All right, Steve. I only started listening to the show just before Christmas, and I love it, even with all the technical difficulties. And goddamn, we had a bunch of them, Teddy. On your last show, you mentioned about how uncomfortable it was watching Anderson Silva. On your last show, you mentioned how uncomfortable it was watching Anderson Silva break his leg. I was wondering, what's the most uncomfortable injury you've witnessed whilst wrestling, whether it's been watching from behind the curtain or actually in the ring? Keep up the awesome show, Brad, a working man from Basildon, Essex, England. Shit, Brad, watching Anderson Silva break his damn leg the other day when Chris Weidman checked that kick was devastating. Oh, Silva's leg, his foot flew around the other side of Weidman's leg. It was brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can top that. I got dropped on my head. That was a pretty shitty day at the office, but I didn't actually, I was the one getting dropped on my head. I've watched it back many times. That's pretty bad. I tell you what, watching Mick Foley getting thrown off that cage way back in the day, I can't remember how many years ago it was absolutely horrendous. It was also horrendous watching Mick Foley crash through that steel cage, because I don't think he's supposed to crash through on that power bomb. And when he landed kind of halfway upside down and sideways, jacked up, and just totally, I'm sure Mick had a concussion after that, and all the damage that he went through with that match, and then had to come out and do a run-in on my first blood match with Kane, and, by the way, take a stunner. Watching some of Mick Foley's falls have been just some of the most devastating things I've seen in the business of pro wrestling. So I would have to say maybe that cage match with Undertaker, and that was, I know the one was an accident, the other one was kind of probably going to happen, supposed to happen, but I don't know if you can top that, Ted. Can you top any kind of crazy bumps or devastation that happened in the business of pro wrestling since you watch?
No. In fact, I just watched that Mick Foley deal on Netflix, and that fall he took off of the top of the cage when The Undertaker threw him onto the announcer's table. Yep. Man, that was absolutely brutal.
Hit like a tub of shit.
Oh, man, there is no way to mask that. That hurt. And then the other one, when the roof gave way and he fell down, and he kind of half-assed sat up, and he had that tooth sticking up through his
nose.
Yeah.
and I'm not running down Mick's a very good
friend of
mine.
Tough. Yeah, tough as a $3 steak.
Hard things to watch, but I think it turns out that Mick his body's kind of built to take that punishment. A little bit of padding, but that guy, he's probably one of the toughest human beings walking the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I remember he introduced that thumbtack spot to me one night, and I said, "No, man, maybe not so much." But okay, because he also got dumped in those thumbtacks in the very same match.
Same night.
Just that one match showed me so much human devastation with some of the worst stuff, and dare I say, entertaining stuff that I've ever seen in the ring. Due to the ability to withstand pain and the desire to give the fans a great show provided by my buddy Mick Foley. Let's move it down the road. Here we go. Hey, Steve, can you give a shout-out to my soccer team, the Moore Rangers Football Club? Are you too good to give shout-outs? Well, first of all, I ain't too good to give a damn shout-out, but I don't know who the fuck the Moore Rangers Football Club is. So then you go on to say, anyway, I want to know what are your thoughts on Cameron winning Tough Enough. It's pretty ironic that she was the first contestant eliminated, yet she was the only one who made it into the WWE. Muzito is his name. Well, first of all, you just said it. She didn't win Tough Enough. She was the first contestant eliminated, yet she was the only one to make it to the WWE. If you will remember, Muzito, I was the one that told her right there on television that she had a place in the business and she would be successful. And she's the only one, to your point, from Tough Enough, currently employed by WWE. I talked to Cameron just the other day at the WWE Network announcement, and we had a great conversation. She sat there and we talked for 15 or 20 minutes. I told Cameron, I said, I knew you would make it because you're beautiful, you're articulate, you're intelligent, and you're eloquent when you talk. So I knew right off the bat that she had a future in the business. Maybe not so much wrestling in the squared circle, but in the entertainment business of sports entertainment, absolutely. So it don't surprise me, and I called it the way I saw it. In the ring, not so much. In the ring as an entertainer, dancing, and with her looks, her smarts, and her ability to articulate her thoughts, thumbs up to her. So me and Cameron we barely talk, but we're very close, and I'm very proud of her, and she's done a great job for herself. You remember that chick, right? Ariane, first chick that was off Tough Enough?
No.
Yeah, she's a real pretty gal. I asked her what her favorite match was, and it was a match that I didn't deem worthy of being her favorite match. Yeah, but anyway, she's beautiful, and so she was the first one. And then she was the one that was running ropes. She kept trying to pull up her pants in the back because they're kind of falling down. And so I wrote her ass about that. But anyway, Cameron's doing absolutely fantastic. She's absolutely beautiful and a beautiful smile, so she's doing great. Hey, Steve, love and appreciate the podcast. Knowing what it's like to have to come up with content when guest access is limited, I have to say that your solo stories are entertaining as all hell. I guess he's talking about wrestling the fly. I run marathons, and living in Canada often means training by running in sub-zero temperatures. I find myself enjoying running in cooler weather more than warmer. My question for you, when you were actively wrestling and WWE made stops in cooler climates where the building temperatures were probably colder, was that easier or more difficult for you? Does temperature even matter when wrestling? Oh, yeah, like I said earlier, man, once you get in some of those cold buildings and you're breathing that cold air in and out of your lungs, they kind of start burning. As far as temperature extremes, we used to go down to Bakersfield, California, Teddy. That's probably about 120 miles, I don't know what, north of, where is it, south of, north of Los Angeles. It kind of out there in the desert.
Right.
And we had these outdoor shows. So there was no roof, man. The sun was beating down on the mat. And that mat had to have been 110, 120 degrees. I mean, you can fry an egg on it. And on those shows, you wouldn't see any mat wrestling. Guy hits the mat, he comes right back up because that son of a bitch will burn your ass.
Right.
And it was hard to even stay down for a 3 count. Once you saw that 3 count, that son of a bitch on his back was up in a hurry. So we wrestled in a bunch of places like that, and so it wasn't air-related. And, going back to just the temperature thing in general, Camp Lejeune down there in North Carolina at that Army base we used to wrestle at, you talk about a hot, muggy motherfucker. That was the worst building I've ever wrestled in. It was, you talk about slippery. If you didn't have no tape on your wrist, you wasn't going to hang on to nobody. As far as a heat extreme, that would be a heat extreme. And I guarantee you could go on that son of a bitch weighing 240 and come out weighing 210. That's how much you would sweat. So, but it's always interesting going into these different locations. But, hey, man, in an indoor place, normally they had that air conditioner cranked up to about 70, and that was kind of like, primo temperature. You you get a good sweat during the match, but you don't burn up. Hope that answers your question. All right, here we go from Nate from Ohio, one of those Buckeye motherfuckers from Ohio. Steve, I absolutely love the podcast. Definitely a can of audio whoop ass, especially the recent motivation show. I was wondering when more extra-large shirts would be available for your T-shirts on the Broken Skull Ranch website. The cream color is the only one with the extra-large available. More interested in the green, black, and red. Thank you. Keep drinking beer and raising hell on the show. Hey, Nate, I appreciate the damn email about those Broken Skull Ranch shirts. I got a artist over there in Los Angeles, and the son of a bitch is a damn good artist, but artists are some of the most difficult people in the world to deal with because you can either connect with them, Teddy, and they can understand your vision and what you're saying.
Right.
And this guy, when I give him my thoughts, does. As far as him executing the plan after he draws up the roughs and putting it into a format, whatever the format is that I can give to the people to print the T-shirts on, absolutely the drizzling shits. I mean, the motherfucker might as well be Helen Keller because he doesn't hear you, he doesn't see. It's ridiculous. So I'm in the process of working on those Broken Skull Ranch shirts. I'm in the process of working on the Steve Austin Show shirts. I'm in the process of coming up with some XXL shirts and 4XL shirts. People have written in looking for those bigger sizes. I dig it. I hear what you're saying. So the Broken Skull Ranch is coming around. Just got to get this sorry-ass artist off his ass and into a zone of productivity. His excuses and his horse shit are unfucking believable. You wouldn't believe this guy, Fowler. So I'm working on that. I'm working on bringing those bigger shirts to you people that have written in about the Steve Austin Show. Anyway, let's move on down the road. Hey, here's one. I'm coming to you as a mad son of a bitch from the gym. I'm sure you've experienced this as well as listeners of the podcast, and that is an untidy people at the gym. When working out at the gym, I do not expect to tidy up after these untidy shitheads who leave weights around the gym, not putting things back in their place, and this cuts into my workout space. I'm trying to find the weights that I need, and it pisses me off. It is hard for me to communicate with these people because I am living in South Korea as an English teacher, and my Korean language skills are not great. I'd love it if you would send a cyber stunner to everyone that goes to the gym so they can be a bit more considerate to other people in the gym by tidying up themselves and wiping down once you've finished. Keep up the great work with the podcast. Kind regards, Amish. I tell you what, Amish, you need to learn some Korean. Yep, he's in South Korea, and you need to learn some Korean that says, hey, pick your fucking weights up and put them things back on the dumbbell rack. And when you get your sweaty ass off the bench, wipe the motherfucker down. That's what you got to learn how to do, is say that in Korean. And to anybody here in the States, people that understand English, gym etiquette, a lost cause. Nobody gives a flying fuck anymore. Teddy, you train down there at a little gym in Rockport, Texas. How's the gym etiquette down there? Are motherfuckers putting their weights up? Are they unracking their plates? Are they wiping the benches down? Are they not leaving T-shirts and water bottles on benches? And then when you ask them to move, they get a chip on their shoulder and look madder than a hornet because you asked them to move their shit. How has been the etiquette down there in South Texas?
No, the gym etiquette there is for shit as well. You know?
Really? In a small town? You figure it'd be premier?
No. Young people, old people, they don't strip their bars down. They leave their water bottles around. And, man, you know me. You know, I walk up, I'm like, hey, dude, are you done with that? No. Yeah. Well, get the fucking weights off.
What'd they say?
You know, nothing. Yes, sir. You know, they take the weights off. You know, am I going to put weights back on the bar? Absolutely. But I don't want to take your shit off to put my shit on.
Right.
You know, leave it the way you found it. Wipe the bench off. Fuck people, they don't, you know, there's no respect for other people's stuff anymore. You know, they figure, I'm paying my money just like everybody else. I ain't got to use a garbage can. I ain't got to wipe shit off. I ain't got to, and there's the placards all over the bar. You know, re-rack your weights. Do you know.
You know, it's like, back in the day, you know, you'd be coming off, a squat rack or a bench press, and you see, hey, man, how many sets you got? Man, 2. I'll be right done. And so, you know, you start stripping that bar. You want me to leave the quarters? You want me to leave the plate on? You know, most people will just, strip it down to a 45 on each side because the guy's going to start off with that weight anyway. I said, you want me to leave the plate on? That was just kind of a common question, you know, but no, take it down. Yeah, okay, then I'm going to take it all down because he might start off with a quart on each side. Right. But there was that courtesy of, hey, you want me to leave the plate on for you? And so that was kind of the thing to do, and it was kind of a situation or an environment where it goes exactly right back to what you just said. Respect. Can you not understand that when you go in there, you pay for your gym membership, there's a set of rules. No one follows the goddamn rules anymore because they don't respect shit. And you got to call out these people that just leave their shit racked, and then you got to call these people out to leave all their shit on the bar because the lazy motherfuckers, if you're strong enough to put it on the bar, you're strong enough to take it off the bar and put it back where it belongs.
Well, I love the people when you step back from from the bar, take your 30-second rest. Guy just comes in off the street, throws his bag in the cubby, and goes up to the bar and starts doing something. It's like, dude, what do you think I'm doing standing here? Look at myself in the fucking mirror. You know, I'll tell you, I got 2 more sets. You know, you can go over there and, you know, drink your soda or whatever, and as soon as I get done, you can have it. Get the fuck away.
The proper protocol there, folks, is if the guy's standing there, just like today, I asked the guy if he was using the lat machine.
Yeah.
When we walked in the gym, he was 8 feet from the lat machine, but because he was in the general area, I'm going to ask because I just walked in this sumbitch. Said, hey, man, you using the lat machine? No, I'm not. Okay, that's where we started a while ago, Teddy. So when you walk in and you see a cat buy a piece of equipment, there could be 3 different machines there. But, hey, ask specifically, hey, you using this? And if it says yes, say, okay, how many sets you got left?
Yeah.
Or, you know, the one that you don't want to hear, but one that is acceptable, hey, you mind if I work in with you? Oh, yeah, most of the time people don't want them. I don't want nobody working in with me, but I'm also, you know, copacetic with the idea that this cat's on a time schedule too. So out of a courtesy, most time, if this guy's going to be doing, you know, the same pace as me, I will allow them to work in. But that's just at least the protocol, the steps that you go through to follow up on gym etiquette.
Yeah.
Ask if you can work in, or ask how many sets, and then patiently wait aside and let them finish. And hopefully it's not someone that's in there just jaw-jacking, wasting time, fiddle fucking around, and not taking care of business. And for them people that like to put their damn stuff on a bench, and you know you're drinking water and your towel, and you don't even need the bench to put that stuff there. They might be doing standing dumbbell curls, but they got their shit on a flat bench. That flat bench is designed for a human being to sit or lay on it to do an exercise, not for you to put your shit on it and get a chip on your shoulder when someone asks you to move it.
No, that's why they make coffee tables,
Well, I mean, shit, that's why they make the floor.
Yeah.
Put your shit on the fucking ground. All right, hey, I got to take a quick break right here and talk to you about LegalZoom. You can protect your family, your assets, and give yourself a little peace of mind in the process thanks to LegalZoom. Now, check this out, folks. This is important. They can help you with a last will and testament or a living trust. And if you're starting a business, LegalZoom can save you a lot of time and money. LegalZoom has helped start over 1 million businesses, and they get the job done right. Hell, maybe that's why they earned an A+ by the Better Business Bureau and why 9 out of 10 customers who use LegalZoom refer them to their friends and family. LegalZoom's step-by-step process was created by a team of experts in law and technology. Now, LegalZoom is not a law firm, but they can connect you with a third-party attorney and provide you with self-help services. For special savings, enter Austin in the referral box to checkout. That's my last name, Austin. Don't let another day go by without protecting your family and your assets. From wills to trademark applications to powers of attorney. You can even get bankruptcy help thanks to LegalZoom.com. That's LegalZoom.com, and enter Austin in the referral box at checkout. And last note to you folks, before I get back into the Q&A, a last will and testament or a living trust is something you absolutely must address so you don't take a ride to that big wrestling ring in the sky, wherever it is, and don't have your ducks in a row when you are no longer here. So that is something that everybody should jump on. It's something that I've jumped on a long time ago, and that's just the way it is. It ain't a fun thing to do, but it's an easy thing to do once you set your mind to it. And the folks at LegalZoom are the folks to use, and they can get it done for you. Let's get back to a couple of questions and wrap this shenanigan up, Teddy. Let's get back to some questions and wrap this thing up, Teddy, because you and I got to get back down there to the SHOT Show. We still got to eat. I'm so damn hungry right now. I'm about to eat this fucking microphone. A couple more questions here. Hey, Steve, how's it going? Your show's a great love. Let's do it on the way to and from work. My question is, how do you adjust to shaving your head bald after having those years of hair? The reason I'm asking is I'm 24 years old and got diagnosed with alopecia, therefore lost my hair within a few months and still find it strange that I'm bald. I thought since you've been one of my heroes since I was a kid, who would be better to ask? So it would be great to hear your view. I put a picture of before and after of my hair. Thanks, Stephen from Glasgow, Scotland. Well, Stephen, I saw your pictures that you sent. And your first picture you sent me with hair, handsome young man, and you had a cute girl. If that's your girlfriend, she's very cute, sitting on your lap. And the next picture you sent, it was just you solo. So hopefully your girlfriend is still with you now that you don't have any hair. So, hey, how did you adjust to shaving your head bald after all those years of hair? Man, hey, well, ain't no other thing like a chicken wing on a shoestring. I was starting to lose my hair, and I needed a little bit different look. I buzzed it down like Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction back in the day. And then, one night right there before he was wrestling Pittsburgh at Mellon Arena, traveling with Goldust, decided to go ahead and shave all that shit off. And so it was just a transitional thing for me. Had all the hair. I had that hairline receding thing and just shaved my shit off. Well, it didn't bother me in the least. Part of life. You look good with a bald head. At least you got a cool-shaped head from what I've seen in the pictures. Again, hopefully you're still with your girlfriend. But, dude, just keep going down the road. I wouldn't take a bunch of pills to get my damn hair grow back if it was an option. So, fuck that shit. You're cool. And what you'll notice is, now that you got a bald head, temperature control. Hair is a great insulator. When I'm walking around out in the cold, most of the heat escapes the body by going, through your scalp. So, man, out there in cold weather, that's why I always wear a baseball hat so I can regulate my temperature just with a cap. Cap is my first go-to thing when I get out in the cold. Obviously, with my jacket. But, hey, Teddy, speaking of jackets, Teddy got me a Carhartt jacket for Christmas I was bragging about. Got a car. I probably the only son bitch in Los Angeles got a Carhartt jacket. That motherfucker's keeping my ass warm out there. I damn near brought it over here to Las Vegas, but I didn't figure I was going to need it. So thank you for the Carhartt. Man, grab my Carhartt jacket and baseball cap. So whether you like to wear a beanie hat or what do you call that pullover hat you wear?
A little skull cap.
Yeah, a little skull cap or something like that. you got to keep your dome covered for temperature control. And obviously when you're too hot, take that shit off and your head can breathe. So anyway, you'll be fine. Here's the last one. We'll wrap this thing up. Hey, Steve, my question is, what was your favorite version of your Stone Cold persona? My favorite was the 96-97 era where you were starting to get hot but were still technically a heel. You constantly had a scowl on your face and the character was so raw and badass all the time. Do you have a version that stands out to you? Man, I tell you what, that 96-97 time, and then when I would go in there to do Live Wire or whatever that program was with Sonny and Todd Pettengill, that was just when Stone Cold was so edgy like that and abrasive and in your face and quick to respond, that was probably all of the phases of Stone Cold were fun, but that probably was my favorite time because the character was so fresh, and then anytime we learned something, I would incorporate that back into the act and just responding accordingly without a script and just flying by the seat of your pants. And the edge of that character back then was the genesis of what Stone Cold would go on to become. And so I would have to say that the 2 years you just mentioned, 96, 97, were amongst the most fun. So I hope that answers your question. And I appreciate everybody that's been sending in all these questions. You guys have been doing a good job sending these things in. And if you got a way to help me make this show better, you can send them in to questions at steveaustonshow.com. I read everything that comes in. I can't get back to all of them, but I read them all. And if you can come up with a way to make this show better, or if you've got something you want to ask me, or if you've got anything at all, send it to questions at steveaustonshow.com. Teddy, did you listen to the Rowdy Roddy Piper show yet?
Yeah, I did.
I tell you what, that was an interesting conversation with that guy. How'd you dig that?
Man, I listened to it on the way to the airport that day.
Yeah.
Man, it's really eye-opening. I had no idea of his upbringing, and all that he went through, all the struggles that he went through as a child out of the house at 13. Staying in those youth hostels, one night, and then the next night you're on your own. You got to find a different place. I couldn't imagine doing that. I mean, I remember him on TV, and that's the only thing I've got to go off of because I never researched his past, didn't know anything about it. But to sit and listen to the guy open up, and once again going back to I have spoken about how difficult it would be to do this show over the phone as opposed to looking across from somebody. I couldn't imagine. Had you done that phone interview as opposed to a face-to-face, it would have got so involved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great show. I can't wait to hear, the second part.
Oh, the second one's even better.
Yeah.
So I want to thank Roddy for sharing so much of his life with us here on the show. You're really going to dig part two. I was glad to, we were on a little bit of a time crunch. Someone was supposed to come into the studio, and I was going to have to get out of it. Ended up getting a little bit more time with Roddy and got some more of his story. I hope he comes back on the show because this time we'll shift gears and we'll start talking about some specific matches or just other stuff. But I tell you what, man, getting expelled from school, I mean, having to pull a knife on me, that was bullshit.
Oh,
that
man.
was bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a situation, I think Roddy was trying to protect himself, and he was doing the right thing. That was a bullshit position for them cats to put him in.
You can totally see that happening, though. Back in the day, it's like, hey, no, get your ass in the pool, strip down like everybody else.
Yeah.
Hey, man, some people aren't cool with that, not comfortable with that.
Yeah, so that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then when he showed up as 15 years old, and he shows up, and he's going to face Larry the Axe Henning. This dude's a big cat.
Yeah.
15 years old.
What do you weigh? $150, $160, something like that.
Jesus Christ! You talk about an eye-opening come to Jesus meeting, Mister. That's a religious experience. Yeah. Tough cat. And so we're going to cover some good stuff coming up on next Tuesday. We're going to talk about WrestleMania 2 with Roddy and Mr. T. We're going to talk about his match with Adrian Adonis. Adrian Adonis is one of my favorite heels of all time. And then, we're going to get some heavy stuff, too, talking about Roddy's recent battle with cancer. And if you're wondering about Roddy doing WrestleMania 30 in April, well, download next Tuesday's show and find out what he says about that. And anyway, Roddy Piper coming back on Tuesday, the family-friendly show. And I appreciate you guys supporting the show by linking to Amazon through the SteveAustinShow.com Every time you do your shopping, Amazon kicks back a few ducats to the show so I can keep delivering the audio whoop-ass to you for free. Just go to steveaustonshow.com and click the Amazon banner. I can't tell you people to shop and buy for anything, but I can tell you that when you do, it's very important to the show, and it helps me out. It helps us pay the bills. And I want to thank all my sponsors who sign on to the Steve Austin Show, and I want to thank you the most. If you hear this show and today's show wasn't your cup of tea, send me some questions, suggestions, and comments, and we'll make it better. I do this show for the working man and the working woman, all them motherfuckers driving trucks across the United States of America, carrying a chainsaw, Teddy Fowler with a hammer and nail, building shit down there in South Texas. A working man, every single man and woman here in the United States, much less the world, is put here to do one thing: work your ass off, pay those gimmicks they send in the mail called bills, pull your end of the wagon. You got anything to add to that, Fowler?
No.
Damn right. Hit it right on the head the first time. I want to thank Teddy for joining me here on the show. We're fixing to go down there and hit the SHOT Show, mill around, and get us some nutrition. You can follow TedFowler361 on Twitter. The working man, Ted Fowler Construction, down there in South Texas and Rockport. Like I said on a previous show, hiring giraffe pussy. But if you want it done right, just call this motherfucker up. And with that being said, for Ted Fowler361, you can follow my sorry ass at Steve Austin, BSR on Twitter. Check out my website, BrokenSkullRanch.com. I got some new T-shirts coming soon. As soon as I can get this sorry-ass artist off his chump ass, I got to tell that sumbitch, swig a beer for the artist man. Motherfucker, I'm about to put my foot up his ass. Hey, I'm out of here. My name is Steve Austin, and I'll catch your ass down the road.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
This Is Monsters is a true crime podcast and YouTube channel where I tell the stories of the worst people on the planet. Though the stories of the victims are told, we focus on the monster who carried out the evil act. The show is split into seasons, and each season has a theme. In Season 1, we covered cases of filicide, which is the act of a parent killing their own child. In Season 2, we covered cases of people killing for love. We recently finished up Season 3, where we covered cases of parricide, which is the act of someone killing their parents. Tune in now as we start Season 4, where we dive into the minds of family annihilators. Sick individuals who decided to destroy their entire families. Check us out anywhere that you listen to podcasts or on YouTube by searching This Is Monsters.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Big Brother Jake, a.k.a. Jake Warner. My government name. Check it out. I host a show called the Big Brother Jake Podcast, and I've taken my talents to the biggest and baddest platform on the planet. That's right, baby. Podcast One. My show is unique as I talk about everything. Life, sports, entertainment, being a single dad juggling several jobs. I'm a hot mess, but it's damn entertaining. Subscribe and review now on Apple Podcasts and listen on Podcast One or wherever you get your podcasts.